So, every Pokemon fan or Poketuber is bound to make a top 10 list of their favorite Pokemon. I happen to be a fan myself, though most of my content isn't Pokemon based besides some shiny streams that are the only thing up at the time of writing. Anyway, here's mine. Let's get started with this. At number 10 is Zeraora. It looks really cool. I love cats. They are very nice and patable. Zeraora is a cat. Besides being a cat, the design looks fearsome and formidable, something good for a mythical. When I play Unite, which is usually when I'm really bored, I pick Zeraora because it's strong, fast, and overall fun. It is my favorite mythical Pokemon. Zeraora is amazing, cool, and... this is harder than I thought. Not only that, but it's bleak and unoriginal. I should do something different, not just the same listing. And that's exactly what I did. I played Pokemon Shield using my top 10 favorite Pokemon. And by 10, I mean 6 that were available in Sword and Shield. Lucky for me that most of them are encounterable before the post-game in the one game where people complained about the national decks. While having some gaps, I got a team that I like a lot. We're catching one after every gym battle, which will make the list very unorganized. So, let's get into the gameplay. I start off the game very normally. I did all the basic setting up that's not important. I chose Scorbunny for a very specific reason. And that's because number 6 is No, of course not. So after a bunch of story filler, I get access to the wild area and immediately leave. I then head straight to the Isle of Armor. Surprisingly, 4 of my Pokemon come from here. And one of those is number 2, Incineroar. Lynn is adorable, and as I mentioned with my pathetic Zeraora explanation, I love cats. So once I got Sun as my first Pokemon game, yes, I'm that young, I obviously chose Lynn. When it evolves into Incineroar, it gets a fun personality, and I feel good training up one of these fearsome creatures. It's great in battle, especially when it's used properly in competitive doubles. While I do wish it had access to stronger physical fire moves, I don't mind. It already solidified it as one of my favorite Pokemon, being the first one I ever owned, but a ton of the love I give it is from Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I made him there, and if you say it's only because I love him, well yes, that was a big motivator, but you're sorely mistaken. I find him super fun to play as. While his recovery isn't the best, I like the risk versus reward factor that comes with it while air fighting. Revenge is a great mechanic, and when it does hit, those numbers are sent flying. Another satisfying and powerful feeling. As you can tell about Incineroar being the slowest character in the game, I don't mind it. So yeah, epic character. Incineroar is very close to number 1, but isn't due to most of my love for it coming from a spin-off crossover fighting game. To get Litten, you need to speak to the Diglett Man, whose Alolan Diglets have been let loose, and you'll get rewards for how many you find. This is the chart of Pokemon you can get from him. As you can see, you can get one of the Alola starters for 100 Diglett determined on who you start out with at the beginning of the game. This is why we chose Scorbunny, who I've been keeping under leveled so he doesn't evolve. Unfortunately, the wild Pokemon are easy to take him out. However, there was a nearby pillar of purple light coming from a den, so I caught the Nickit inside and used that to find my way around the land searching for Diglett. 100 of them is a lot though. It took me about 2 hours to find enough Diglett, with guides. Fortunately, it was worth it for this Litten. Cool thing about the Alola starters in this game is that this specific one will have their hidden ability. And of course, Intimidate was amazing. I named him Snap, an old cat of mine who was dear to me and passed away about 2 years ago. Enough with the sappy stuff and let's progress through the story. In the Isle of Armor, I thought it'd be funny if I listened to Avery, so I never set foot in the dojo. Although to get some Diglett, I did have to meet Honey. On mainland Galar, I trekked through a surprisingly tame wild area to Monastoke, a place I had already been to for flying taxis, so that was a waste of time past me. Now registering for the gym challenge, I chose the number 58, which was the amount of subscribers I had at the time of recording. The first meeting with Team Yell was simple, nothing to write home about. The hot battle went surprisingly well, considering he had 3 Pokemon compared to my 1. In Galar Mine, Snap evolved into Torracat, allowing me to course through the cave easily. The beat fight went smoothly with him knowing Bite now. The Turffield Gym Challenge was easy, and I got to remember these and got to complain on why you can't do them more than once. The fight with Milo was easy, and we got ourselves the Grass Badge. Once leaving Turffield Stadium, I turned back to Route 4 to get number 3, Manectric. Well, I guess I'm getting Electroid, but you know what I mean. I was an average Pokemon fan who started out with the cards and the anime before I got to the games. Watching an episode of X and Y, I saw Officer Jenny's Manectric, and my mind was like, hey, that looks dope. It also helped that it was the first full evolutionary set that I got into TCG. Electric, Manectric, Manectric DX, and Mega Manectric. Obviously, 9-year-old me was thrilled. When I got Alpha Sapphire for the first time, I knew I had to get one of these for my team. And it was great. Or at least, I think I was. Look, my initial ORAS playthrough was in 2016, and I have a story for that, actually. One day, my mom and I were shopping at Target, and I saw Sun, seeing, hey, that's Pokemon. Cool. And buying it. The next day, we went to Target again for something. I don't know, this was 6 years ago. We probably forgot something. I don't care. And I bought Alpha Sapphire, because I was like, hey, that's Pokemon. Neat. And the guy who took it out of the glass panel things they have was the same one who took out Sun for me and recognized me, which obviously made my day. You know, along with progressing through Sun and Alpha Sapphire. Anyways, back to Manectric. I loved using it so much that I used one again in my Emerald playthrough. This one was more recent, so I remember it kicked butt. I named it Kill Chips for some reason. You'll see that I can get weirder later, but yeah, it's really fun to use. It looks like a physical attacker, but isn't, which is good for a Gen 3 quadruped electric type. It looks cool, its Mega looks cool, which it has a Mega, it deserves it, Intimidate. Come on. It's one of 3 Pokemon that I've used twice prior to this run, along with number 1 and Samurott out of all Pokemon. Well, I used it twice because of Legends, which happened after this run, but it had no relations to it, so it still counts. Overall, Manectric stands to be really cool and sentimental for me. This one I named Cumulus. While for some reason not being concerned about getting it to the level of Snap, I fought Team Yell and Hop with these. Onto Hulberry, I pushed through the gym challenge easily. Nessa, however, was difficult. Cumulus was not strong enough and Snap was weak to water, so I lost in my first attempt. This is when I realized that training Cumulus might be a good idea. I stopped when he finally evolved into Manectric, because it evolves at the low level of 26. How epic. It was enough to OHKO Nessa's first 2 Pokemon, and Dreadnought to very low. Then, the gym badge was set in stone. The beat fight in Galar Mine 2 was easy, but that was for only 2 of them. Gothita got a little scary. First of all, I sent in Snap after Cumulus took care of his Solosis. Intimidate activated and did nothing because anyone could just look at the Gothita line and know that they're special attackers. And that's why its competitive was scary. It then proceeds to crit me with the Stab +1 special attack Psyshock, but I lived. Once I took it down with 1 bite, the rest was easy. The Team Yell battle with Hop wasn't a problem, and I was ready for the Monostoke Gym. But first, I was able to get a new party member, and that member was number 4, Sandslash. Sandslash has always looked very cool to me. It's a hedgehog shrew thing that rolls fast with spikes covering the ball. I love the design, and I got to use it in the hit Roblox game Project Pokemon. Yeah, every 9-year-old play Roblox. Here, it was framed exactly like Gen 1, which if you've seen the moveset for him, it sucks. Yet, I kept him around. I never finished the game because I did not have the will or knowledge of grinding. Then, I really got to use him in my playthrough of Let's Go. And wow, was he good. Ground was pretty useful for me, and it shows seeing that Poison is abundant in Gen 1, and I didn't use a Psychic type until Mewtwo. Speaking of Psychic types, it was great against them. It got X-Scissor, so when anything that I didn't want to send in my Pokemon who was strong against Psychic, but also weak to who is coming earlier in the list, that would come out and finish the job. Super strong as well. I already loved Sandslash, I admit, but I preferred Alolan Sandslash prior due to Ice and Steel being really cool typings and it being blue. But then Let's Go happened and Cantonian Sandslash prevailed and solidified it as number 4 forever. Also the fact that Alolan Sandslash can't ball. I caught a Sandshrew in Warm-Up Tunnel and nicknamed it DiGiorno. Heading back to Monostoke, the morning battle was easy. It would have been easier if I used Double Kick, but it was just a little mistake that made the battle longer. After that, I trained DiGiorno because he would be the best option to fight in this gym, and many Salinids spit their final words for the cause. It evolved, and I remembered I found a TR for Drill Run while Diglett hunting, so now I can move on to Sudowoodos. Once I was high enough level, I challenged the gym. Kabu was pretty tough, mainly due to Will-O-Wisp lowering my attack. I whittled down Ninetales just fine, but was unable to do that with Arcanine. I switched into Cumulus so DiGiorno could rest and I could paralyze it. That didn't matter though, as it never became fully paralyzed and it raised its speed +4 with agility. It burned Cumulus too, but that meant nothing, meaning I got the upper hand. I sacrificed Cumulus to Kabu's Centiskorch to heal DiGiorno. We were pretty evenly matched. He was doing a bit more damage, but I was faster. Due to me sacrificing Cumulus, I had an extra turn of Dynamax, guaranteeing me the victory. Up next was the party member, the long-awaited number 1, Lucario. Karina's Lucario in the X and Y anime was my first introduction to him, and this specific one's writing was really good. We actually got to hang around with him and see his bond develop even more with Karina, so that they could fully Mega Evolve. When I got into the games, Lucario stayed my number 1 until I got a little older. I knew that I had used Lucario before and was considering Incineroar to be the new number 1, until I played Black 2 for the first time. Because oh my god was he good. He kicked butt in most of his battles, and I was even using the wrong stat due to its special attack lowering nature. It was one of my favorites on the team and one of the few Pokemon that I used on a first playthrough of a region that wasn't native to it. I used it again in Brilliant Diamond where I named it Friend, and even though I had an Infernape, it remained useful and even better than my Black 2 one since I could use its special attack. Again, a very valuable Pokemon. I considered using it on my Legends Arceus team as well, but I already used it on my 2 recent Pokemon playthroughs minus Emerald, and I was intent on using Hisuian, Goodra, and Gallade, which happened to be some of my favorite and most useful party members of that game. Lucario and them show how great the Steel and Fighting types are, and the type combination is great. 3 weaknesses all belonging to Steel leaves potential for Fighting to shine even more. Combined with Steel's large pool of resistances, you have a great Pokemon. Its Mega Evolution is dope. It fixes all of the design problems that others saw in it, and it looks badass. I use it whenever I want to go into the Battle Tree in Sun, and it's great there. If you're wondering why I don't main him in Smash, I used to. I like the Aurora effect, and that sort of carries over into Incineroar's revenge mechanic. What I don't like is some of the floatiness and how weak your attacks are at the start of the stock. Incineroar is powerful and becomes even more powerful with timing. My Smash playstyle is a lot more reckless and power heavy instead of fast combos, but that doesn't mean I don't enjoy him. He makes a good 4th main and an amazing Pokemon. I may be more passionate about Incineroar, but Lucario will remain my favorite for a while. I caught the Riolu on the Hammerlock side of the wild area on vacation away from my capturing equipment, so no footage for that. I named it Fury because while I caught it, my siblings were watching Captain Marvel and the MCU is epic and I need to get back on top of it. I headed to Hammerlock to meet Ryan, and then proceeded to Stoneside. I breezed through Route 6 and went back to train Fury and evolve Snap into Incineroar. The Hot Battle and Gym Challenge were a breeze, and the only slight problem I had with Alistair was his Mimikyu, where it's Fairy type and my attack being lowered twice. I switched into Cumulus to whittle it down, but it wasn't a concern. The B-Battle following was a joke with my new Dark type Incineroar, and after he was emotionally scarred, and Sonia thought of something, I embarked on Glimwood Tingle. But before that, I went back to the Isle of Armor to get number 8. Yes, we just did skip a whole lot. It's not my fault 5, 6, and 7 aren't available in this game. But number 8 is Lycanroc, specifically Day form, but you can't go wrong with Dust form. Lycanroc is a great take on rock types. It's more speedy and frail compared to a lot of the other ones. Compare that with its epic design, and it creates a great Pokemon. I first used Lycanroc on my Sun playthrough after seeing Rockruff in the demo and knowing I had to get one of those. I especially seeked it out in 10 Carat Hill to get one. It was pretty good, but my memory's hazy from 2017 and I did not know how to use the rock type effectively, but I had fun with it. It was one of the few Pokemon I brought back because I realized putting Tapu Koko in its place is dumb. Overall, it's a cool and unique design that I have sentimental attachments to. This one I named Marshall because of the recent Marshall fire at the time, and a bit of both things had to relate with fire, something I wanted this Lycanroc to counter because unlike DiGiorno, it resists fire. Glimwood Tangle was easy to get through. Before I went through Opal's gym, I wanted Fury to evolve so I could get the type advantage. I walked and battled enough to get it to transform into its glorious state. To prepare more, I went hunting for the TR for Flash Cannon for Fury, and in the meantime, the TR for Thunderbolt for Cumulus because for some reason these guys don't learn these moves via Learn Set. My main method was Max Raid Battles. Problem with that though, for some reason my timed events just wouldn't change on the next day. This included the Lotto ID, weather, and worst of all, Max Raid Battles. Luckily, I did find Thunderbolt being sold by one of the Macrocosmos employees in the wild area, and a Magnemite Max Raid whose only TR dropped was Flash Cannon, so we were lucky and prepared for Opal. The gym challenge was easy as ever. Her battle was simple as well. The first three had some problems that are too obsolete to mention, but when Fury finally came in for Alchemy, it got obliterated, giving me the win and causing Marshall to evolve. Okay, so I forgot that it could get a new Pokemon and didn't realize that after Melanie, so no new entry. The hot battle on the bridge was easy and so was Route 8. The gym challenge was as bad as I remember. Before Melanie, I trained up Marshall to do most of the heavy lifting. Melanie's first three Pokemon were easily taken care of by Marshall, but due to its water weakness, I sent in Cumulus to Dynamax and take down Lapras. Sadly, he only got it to super low before fainting, where I sent Marshall back in to finish the job. Now, we move on to Spikemuth, but before, we have to get our final Pokemon, number 9, Poliwrath. Unlike all of the others talked about on the list so far, and even the gap we skipped, I've never used Poliwrath. I did use a Poliwhirl for a bit and Alola for specific reasons, but benched it once those reasons were over, so I always had some sort of sentimental attachment to it. My love for it started a bit recently. I thought about certain things, like how its type combination is unique only to it and a mythical despite it being a Gen 1 Pokemon, how it perfectly translates Poliwhirl's design from a friendly frog to an aggressive one. Some say it's minimalistic, but I think that just adds to the charm. There is one thing too that added to my love for Poliwrath, and that was my hatred of Politoed. First of all, Toad is spelled with an A. It looks nothing like its pre-evolutions, it adds no new type to make it unique, and the only reason people use it is because of Drizzle. But this is about Poliwrath, not Politoed. This is a place of positivity and love for Poliwrath, and now it's time to get one. I got mine in Brawler's Cave with surprisingly little Poliwag or Poliwhirl spawns. I did manage to find one, however, and nicknamed him Espuma. I trained him completely off camera, but I did manage to get his evolution to Poliwhirl on camera due to Switch capture footage. Once I got it on par with the others, that's when I popped the Water Stone and evolved Espuma into Poliwrath. I immediately taught it Liquidation from a TR I just had, so neat. I also taught it Brick Break as well. I forgot to mention, while trying to train him, I sent him to a Poke Job, but I pulled him out. I don't know how, but that fixed the time events. Anyways, after changing our bike into something cooler, we continued on Route 9. I grinded before the Marnie battle, and lucky for me that all of the random encounters are weak to fighting. The Marnie fight was done with ease. The gym challenge was great training for Espuma, and the Piers battle was really easy, but fun. I immediately went to challenge Raihan. In the gym challenge, I came up with the great idea of having Espuma set up the rain to counter Raihan's Sandstorm. Fury also learned Dragon Pulse, which the timing couldn't have been better. Raihan's gym battle infuriated me, not because it was hard, not even playthrough me writing the script seeing much better options possible. I send in Espuma and DiGiorno. DiGiorno takes down Gigalith while Espuma sets up the rain and takes down his Sandaconda. During this, the Flygon has used Breaking Swipe each time, therefore our attacks are pretty low. Once his Duraludon Gigantamaxes, I don't. Instead, Espuma sets up the rain after Sandaconda's Sand Spit. So, after that, I should Dynamax, hit Max Knuckle, and Gigi? Nope! I just hit Flygon instead! DiGiorno dies and I send in Fury. Instead, I Dynamax him and take care of Duraludon, which in retrospect is kinda necessary, but Espuma should have been the one to Dynamax. Once Fury OHKOs it, Espuma falls to Flygon, and Fury immediately turns his attention to it, and hits it with a Maximum Wind, with some help with a Crunch by Marshall. Whitehill was easy to get through, and the first battle was with Marnie, which Fury and DiGiorno quickly disposed of. Hop was next. He was a simple battle leading up to the main tournament. The hunt for the key to Rose Tower is always easy if you have a fire type, and the same is true for riding up it, so we arrive at the Oleana fight. No problems here whatsoever. After sweeping Liliana, everything settles, and we begin the championship match the next day. And then the footage corrupted. Looking through the footage only gave me an irrational fear of Eternatus. I couldn't tell you how the Nessa, Alistair, and Raihan battles went, but I would presume simple. The Rose battle is always super easy if you have a fire type. Eternamix battle was like any other, I used DiGiorno and won. But I was devastated that Leon's was gone. That was the most hectic Pokemon battle of my life. Here's how it went. I lead with Snap against Aegislash. Easy kill. Then came his Haxorus. I remember this sweeping my first playthrough team and me losing. The same was true for this. Snap went down, then Fury, DiGiorno, Cumulus. It lives! I'm somehow able to whittle it down with Thunderbolts and a full restore. Inteleon came out. It outspeeds, hits a snipe shot, and Cumulus goes down. Again?! One Thunderbolt took it out. I knew it wasn't possible for Cumulus to survive another hit, so I max revived Snap and Cumulus went down to his Dragapult. One Darkest Lariat was enough. It wasn't enough for Mr. Rhyme though. He Teeter Danced and I full healed. He Thunderbolts and it paralyzed. I'm able to manage through that and kill him. Finally, his Charizard. I send out Marshall to Dynamax. In comes Max Overgrowth. And I live it! One Max Rock full is enough to kill it. I'm now the new champion of Galar. I don't know if I'll ever experience that again in my life. There's always competitive, but that's for a later time. So, now I'm champion with 6 Pokemon that I love. But what were the other 4? Number 10 is Zeraora. I'm aware that I already talked about him, but that was a bad description. Zeraora is a Gen 7 mythical cat, so immediate bonus points there. Plasma Fist is a great signature move. It's strong, it summons an effect only brought on by some other obscure move. It's a physical electric move? Amazing. Again, I made it in Unite, which is a fun pass type for when I'm bored. If you're wondering why I don't main Lucario, it's because I don't have his Unite license. So, yeah, great Pokemon, great shiny, great signature move, and great spin-off representation. Number 7 is Beedrill. The anime made these guys look like a huge threat. In the games, not so really. It's an early route bug type, of course it's gonna be weak. But the anime made them look like these forces to be dealt with. That's just cool. Again, this was on both my Roblox and Let's Go teams. Roblox is a haze, but I remember it being a bit useless because it's Beedrill's Gen 1 moveset. I also happened to be using a Gengar and Nidoking, so the poison type was kind of obsolete. Let's Go, on the other hand, it had worth. Better bug moves, so better dealing with those pesky Gen 1 psychic types, even if they could counter me. Fairy types were now a thing somewhat, so it could counter even more. It wasn't MVP status like my Sandslash in the game, but it still had its worth. X-Scissor worked better on it due to Stab, and it was great, and it was an early route bug type. Also, it's Mega, great design, it makes this thing appear more than an early route bug type. Wish I could say the same about Gigantamax Butterfree. Its attacks and speed stats become so great, you don't really need the other ones. I have sentimental attachment to the Mon, and will cherish it for a long time. Number 6 is Greninja. If I had a nickel Greninja win a poll on Pokemon popularity, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that happened twice. What can I say? Sure, the other Kalos starters get too much flack, one of them more than the other, but it means nothing when you're living amongst a god. I don't need to tell you that Greninja in all of its forms looks cool. You've heard it from every Pokemon head you know. Frog Ninja. Come on. Water Shuriken is really cool, even with a multi-hit move. Its typing started a trend of cool Dark-type starters. It was so popular, it got its own form away from the other two it's associated with. At least people demand justice for Venusaur and Blastoise. You can never overstate how much the world loves this guy. This state of being overrated because there is no word that just means that even though overration is right there... What was I just talking about? This overration does lead it to a bit of a downfall. I love the appreciation it just gets a bit too much. It's why people hate Charizard. I still love it, but not as much as the rest of the list. And finally, at number 5, because this list is super unorganized, is Rayquaza. I am legally obliged to say that this is my favorite legendary Pokemon. It is a green sky lizard. That's dope. Its role in the Gen 3 games feels right. A mysterious creature that everyone thanks despite not really knowing what it is. It's a powerhouse, and Dragon Ascent is a cool signature move, although if it's gonna be flying, name it something else. I mainly got it introduced to it with Sun out of all games. My neighbor just had a spare Rayquaza, I guess, and just gave it to me. Honestly, it was pretty balanced, one of the worst party members on the team. It was just frustrating to see it ignore me all the time. It didn't help that since Alola has fewer kahunas than the average gym leader amount, it wasn't keeping up as much. This was before the post-game, where this silly noodle boy became the legendary Serpentine of the Skies. It did help that it got its Mega, which, it's Mega! It looks amazing, and it's really cool how it's tied with Mega Mewtwo X and Y for the highest usable base stat total. 9-year-old me could feel the power. I boxed the rest of my team and kept this guy while grinding for the Pokedex. It's my first level 100 Pokemon. The rest of my team in that game can't even live up to that status. But the fact about how most of this was just talking about one Rayquaza should show how much I care for it and all future Rayquaza encounters to be. Speaking of, there was no way I had the patience to track down the Rayquaza in the max layer, so that's why there was no mention of him until the game was complete. So, to recap, number 10 Zeraora, number 9 Poliwrath, number 8 Lycanroc, number 7 Beedrill, number 6 Greninja, number 5 Rayquaza, number 4 Sandslash, number 3 Manectric, number 2 Incineroar, and number 1 Lucario. I had a lot of fun with this challenge, 8 out of 10, would do again. This challenge has deepened my connection with Pokemon I already love, and will continue to love for a long time. At the start of this video, I said I had 58 subscribers at the time of recording. At the end of editing, we are at 124 subscribers. I never thought I'd make it this far, so thank you. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.